Let's check out this Hygger air pump with 605 litres an hour at 5 watts. Okay, so what do we have in the box? Well, this is the box, 1 year warranty, very cool. We got 605 litres an hour, 160 gallons per hour, up to tanks of 180 litres. And it's only 5 watt, so let's open the box. I do like Hygger, the way they pack things properly, not like some other manufacturers. Very cool, very nice. Oh, this is this is a big unit, guys. So, okay, I'll tell you what you can use this for when you get this sort of stuff. Put it under the pump or heater or whatever you want to do. Well, maybe not a heater, eh? But I put it under the pump and it stops vibration. Pretty cool. So you don't get any bits with it, which is a bit of a shame, because obviously a lot of the other manufacturers are giving you lots of stuff. These are proud, which is what you want, and metal as well. So many times I've seen people, especially customers that I go around, they put them on, they snap them off. It's quite a heavy, it's quite a heavy unit. About the size of my hand. Adjust, so you've got one adjuster that's going to adjust both of these. Okay, so let's have a look at the cable. Cable's normally about 1 meter long on most ancillaries that I've seen. Yeah, normally about 1 meter long. Ideally what you want to do is put this in a cupboard somewhere, okay, and just run the pipe out. Yeah, meter long. Okay, nice suckers. Let's see how good these suckers are. Yeah, they're very good. I wouldn't trust it on a wall or anything. Let's plug it in. Okay, a little blue light. Okay, on minimum, you can't really hear it, and then it's not too bad, mate. I'm quite impressed with that, but let's get some airline on it, because that's the actual test we want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an old sponge filter and we're going to run it up with this, and then maybe an air stone on there, so at least we can see how much it does. Okay, let's get it wet. Okay, for this setup, I'm going to use that, which is a very seasoned, as you can see by the debris around it, sponge filter, and a brand new little air stone. And that, the reason I'm going to do it this way is because obviously you want to know what it's like after the effects. So we're going to start on the very minimum power setting. So 3, 2, 1. Nothing. So you can basically turn it off. Alright. Now I'm going to go up a little bit just to get it started running. Okay, so I had to turn it quite a few degrees to get something to happen. Okay, as you can see, we've got bubbles happening. All right, let's have a listen. Okay, just go up a bit more. Now, hear the noise? That noise is coming from the pump and being transmitted through the air. Okay, but it is moving quite a bit. Now let's see if it's the air stone or the filter that's causing most of the noise. Okay, so it is the air stone. Yeah, I've turned the air stone off. That's just guggling like they do. Listen. Okay, and that's half power. Let's go full power. Now that is moving way, look at that. That is moving so much air. Now, as you can see, most of that noise. So let's cut the air stone off again. Okay. Let's have a listen to the unit. Let's turn the air stone off again. Yeah, there is noise there, and it's not super quiet. Okay, but I think we need to do the pros and cons just to see how I feel about this, because it is quite a big unit and it's pushing tons and tons of air. I mean, I'm running two things off this quite simply. You know, you could run 2 sponge filters at the other end of a 200 litre tank and they'd work more than adequate. And it's moving a lot of water through that sponge filter. Okay, let's do the pros and cons. Okay, so what are the pros and cons? Okay, so the problem I have is it's very large. Now, this is not about quietness, even though I believe this is probably one of the quietest of this size and this amount, and it's running 2. You've got no adjustment for either one, you know, so you'd have to use 2 and you'd have to adjust both of them at the same time, which is kind of annoying, really. You know, I mean, if you've got 2 ports, you want 2 adjustments. There's no point otherwise. So that's a big bugbear for me. However, the quality of this is fantastic. Even though I didn't like the suckers at first, I thought, well, they were pointless, to be honest. It's actually really cool. It's actually really good. It stopped a lot of noise, a lot of vibration. I actually put this on top of something to see what would happen, and it made a lot more noise. So again, that amount didn't do anything, and then it suddenly came on. So, you know, would I buy one of these? Now, this is the question, yeah. If I was going to run a room, okay, I would segregate this off into another 2, okay, and I'd run 4 sponge filters off this and not have expectations of quietness. I would have expectations of doing the job. So if you want something that's going to do the job, then this is going to do it. At 5 watts, good product, I reckon. Okay, so the cons. The pros and cons, you know, with these, a lot of people have expectations of being whisper quiet. You can't have whisper quiet. You're running equipment that's bubbling through water. So the noise is going to come from the water, as I showed you in the video. Don't expect too much from these, okay? Having said that, you can put as much tube on these as possible. You could have this outside if you wanted to. You didn't even have to have it in the room. It would do the same job, and that way the only noise you would get is from that. So this does get my thumbs up. However, I think they should change a few things, and the first thing I think they should change, adjustments. This is important. Adjust it. You know, you could have 2 knobs on the back. They're variable potentiometers, not a problem. It take £1, maybe a bit more on top. And apart from that, it was a little bit overpowered for what I showed you. To be honest, it needs to be a bit smaller, but that's not their fault. That's my fault. Fantastic product. I would buy one. Thanks very much. Take care.